Okie doke. So Kiwi, where were we? Oh, okay. So Gatsby develop. That'll let us see what we're doing, or what we're building at least. Being very slow. And then I think what you're supposed to use these days is auth0, whatever that is. Never compromise on identities. The solution you need for web, mobile, and internal application. Loved by developers and trusted by enterprises, okay? So let's see. Why is this so slow? Platform, single sign-on. So that means we can just sign in. That's great. Tech stack. Okay. Remove repetitive implementation and free yourself of blah. That looks promising. So let's see, how does auth0 work? Can it do let's see, single page app. What technology are you using? I'm using React. Okay, integrate auth0, authentication, universal login is the easiest way to set up authentication. Create an authentication service. Checkpoint. Oh, perfect. And then we have login with Twitter. Perfect. So that looks exactly like what we need. I'm hoping that login with Twitter means that it also gives us access to their Twitter stuff. Okay. So let's see. What do I need to do? Get your applications things. Okay, so I need to sign up, and I'm going to sign up with, let's just use email, generate password, sign up. Okay, tenant domain, we set thread compiler, it's in the US. Next. Sure, add that. Company, developer, project, application for consumers, or am I just playing around? Let's say I'm just playing around for now. Swissets LLC, company, just playing around. Create account. Okay. Oh, that's neat. Cool. You have 25 days left in your trial to experiment with. Hey, ein bisschen. Yeah, I'm trying to stream every day these days, or at least every weekday, because I have spidey senses that it's a good idea. Now I need to go back to getting started. Duplicate tab, because apparently I can't just click on it with command. Getting started. Authentication API. And developer single page app, or is it a web app? Okay, single page app. React. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. So configure auth0. It says this is going to take us 15 minutes. So let's see if it really does. Application settings. Your client ID settings. Object didn't pass validation for frame. Okay, so we need to create an application. Default app. Now create application called thread Compiler, hey King Daro, this is a single page web app. Create, cool. It's built with, oh, that's neat. Very nice. Okay, so we're creating an app. Settings, thread compiler, domain thread compiler 0, client ID, reveal client secret. We shouldn't do that right now. Okay. If you download the sample from the top, blah. Configure a callback URL is a URL in your application where auth0 redirects the user after they have authenticated. The bird is a sun conure. This is going to be a problem, I think, but let's see. Where is the bird? Suspicious creature. Okay. Details about the application, we have that. Configure callback URLs. So, localhost 3000, but it's not. It's actually localhost 8000, isn't it? Yes. Cool. Nice. I'm happy you're enjoying my videos, Sartak. And Eric and Cats, what? Which ones are Kaiks again? My girlfriend is more of a bird person than I am. I just take care of this fucker. Yarn add auth0 -js. Where do I configure the callback? Callback after the user authenticates, will only call back to any of these URLs. If you're following along, you need to whitelist the callback URL. Right. So localhost 8000. Save those changes. Cool. So we got auth0 yarn, we added that. If you do not want to use a package manager, once installed, add it to your build system or bring it into your project with a script tag. We don't want that. Okay. So we're gonna go here on the index page, and at the very top I'm going to okay, Kaiks are same size as a conure, that's great. Create a service to manage and coordinate user authentication. You can give the service any name. In the examples below, the service is auth and the file name is auth.js. In the service, add an instance of the auth0 web auth object when creating that instance. You can specify the following. That's what they mean by the auth service. Okay, so we can do that. We're going to this is token, ID token expires in, create an authentication service, user info at point. Cool. So we are going to ls source, and let's say make their source auth, touch source auth. Oh, I should zoom this in. Source auth auth.js. So auth.js, open that thing, change it to React prettier, import auth0 from auth0 -js, export default class auth, which does what? So auth0 equals new auth0.webauth, and our domain is, let's see, what is my domain? So I'm going to hard code all of these things for now, but I can always change them later, I think. client ID is blah, redirect URI is HTTP, what did we say it was? HTTP localhost 8000 callback. Cool. Response type token ID token. Okay, so token, where do we get the ID token documentation? JWT. Okay. We should invoke. This includes calls to lock which the authentication API. You can view the implementation details. How do I get the token? Do I just say ID token there? Okay, so I guess maybe we just call this ID token then. Cool, and scope is open ID, whatever that means. And login. Why? Dude. Login. This auth0 authorize. Okay. Okay, so on the index page, we're going to try this. So we're going to make a button called login, and on click, it's going to say auth.login. And this is going to be just so we can see what actually happens. Import auth from ./auth/auth or no, ./auth. Okay, so auth login, and we say const auth equals new auth. So the reason I chose auth0 is because auth0 is a service that already, from my understanding, has everything implemented that we need, whereas OAuth is a how would you say, it's a protocol for how to implement authentication. So I'm hoping that using auth0 will make it easier, because there's a company out there already trying to do most of this stuff for me. So now I can go here, and if I click login, let's see what happens. What's complaining? We need key prop. So login. Very nice. Okay. Sign up. Cool. That's pretty cool. And we can, let's do login with Google. This one. Authorize the app thread compiler, and then it goes back to my callback, which doesn't work because we need to implement that part. So that's pretty cool. It gave us an access token and everything else that we need to make sure our users are authenticated. I'm gonna go figure out why my bird is being so quiet, because that is very suspicious, and then we're gonna continue. But I think the next part is implementing the callback. Dude, the crazy bird got stuck in the closet, and now he's spinning to get some of my snack. I sure hope that's not chocolate. Doesn't look like chocolate. He didn't mention chocolate in the ingredients. Yeah, I don't think it's chocolate. Okay. Now, how do we implement the callback? Okay, auth demo. How do we tell it to So it handles authentication and stuff. Okay. So this service, the auth thing, is an object that's supposed to do everything for us. No. Well, let's see. We define the access token, the ID token, and expires at. And then we copy pasta all of this stuff. So we say, why is this implemented differently here? Nah. Okay, so that's a little confusing because they're using a different approach to writing code in different parts of the tutorial, which just feels kind of wrong. Access token, ID token. So where is login? That's weird. Okay, so login is going to be this kind of function. Calls this auth0 authorize. Then we have handle authentication. Let's see. Okay, enough. You've had too much. And if this has chocolate and he dies, my girlfriend will kill me. How are you doing, Bird? Did you poison yourself with that? No? Okay. Yeah, you look fine. Okay, so what does this do? Parses hash, gets the auth result, sets session. We don't want this. Instead, we're going to console log the error. Maybe we can do an alert, we'll see. But we can't do history replace. We're gonna have to do a Gatsby style redirect. So get access token is a this access token. That's, why would you use that? Get ID token. That's such a weird, I find this to be weird paradigm to use because getters and setters exist in JavaScript. Then we have set session. Actually, let me copy all of these. It's going to be quicker if I copy. A set session is a function that takes an auth result, updates local storage, and then navigates to home route, which again we can't do. Renew session. This set session. Then it does an alert. If we're logging out, we remove all tokens and expiry time, and if we are authenticated, and that's just a check. Cool. Now let's see, how do we do a Gatsby style redirect? Or yes, let's do a Gatsby style redirect. Gatsby redirect, how do we do that? Using redirects. Create redirect for client-side in-browser redirection in Gatsby. So page 2, create redirect. Where is create redirect coming from? So I can't tell how that's working. How do I write a redirect using Gatsby? Ah, okay. So we have programmatic navigation in Gatsby link. That is useful. It uses rich router, link, replacing history entry, programmatic navigation. Perfect. Where did that come from? Import navigate from Gatsby, and we go here. Where did we have history replace? Okay. So here, handle authentication, set session, and set session then says navigate to slash, and this one also is going to navigate. No, set session already navigates. Logout, navigate to slash. Okay. So that should help. Now, what do we do next? I'm not sure when this is supposed to be called, but looks for the result of authentication in the URL hash. So this is going to have to be what triggers when we have the callback page. So let's update this here and say that we are doing an auth 0 callback. Save changes, and here when we call the redirect, we say auth 0 callback, and we're going to set up a page that will serve the callback thing. So copy source pages index.js to source pages auth 0 callback.js, and we open that one, React, and we take auth blah, and it is the auth0 callback page, which takes the layout and the basic SEO. And let's see, it's going to say this is the callback page. You should be redirected immediately. So const auth. Now let's see, where do they call things? Login, props auth login, component did mount, renew session, is authenticated. When you use the login page, your users are taken away from your, after they authenticate, the users automatically return to your application and a client-side session is set for them. So that's the loading SVG, process the authentication result. Wonderful. So we can say auth.handle authentication. And let's see what happens. I think I'm kind of jumping around, but it should work, I think. And this is the auth callback page. We don't actually need SEO on that. We can have a loading screen here. Let's see, React loading spinner, React spinners, React loaders. I don't know what the clip loader is, but it looks safe enough for me. So import clip loader from React spinners, like that, auth0 callback page, and we render clip loader with size unit equals pixels and size of 150, and I guess we'll see what happens. So the idea now is that clicking the login button is going to redirect us to auth0, which will redirect us back where the auth0 callback page in Gatsby is going to handle the login data and redirect us back to the home page. And once that happens, we can implement the actual handling to know that, hey, you're now logged in or you're not logged in. So click login, thread compiler comes here. I say login with Google. Everything is still on auth0. We authenticated with the Googles, came back to our callback, and voila. Cool, so that worked. If I look at my local storage, I should now have auth user. I think, at least no, that's not me, or it might be me. Cool. So that worked. We can add that, git status, git add source, git commit -a-m, basic auth0 flow. So that worked. Git push origin of the master. Okay, now let's see about the login control. So we go to index.js, and here we're going to instead render the login control that takes our auth. Import thread container from state, and we say import login from /components login, and we touch source components login.js. Come on, open login, switch to React, and because I'm lazy, I'm going to almost copy paste it from here. So import React and React from React. We don't need CSS. So should we use React? I have React. Actually, let's change React to be next so that it potentially works better. So React next, and we call yarn, and then I open React because it is a really good UI toolkit. Login.js, components, button, wonderful. So buttons, import button from React and export default const login equals it's a method, export default login, and this method is going to say what? Auth 0. So say const is authenticated equals this equals auth. So we're taking auth as a parameter to make it less dependent on how things are done. So then we have a button that says now if is authenticated, we are going to return, let's see if it's going to be a logout button, otherwise it's a so return button logout, else return button login. Cool. And when this one is clicked, we call auth.logout login, and when logout is called, we say auth.logout, right? Because those don't really need anything from us. Renew session. Okay, and we have to use effect. How do we use effect? We basically want to check the first time that this loads if actually no, that should be happening. Where should that be happening? Not sure. Okay, is authenticated, auth logout, auth login, and then actually Gatsby browser is where we should be checking for local storage. Let's see. On client entry, on initial client render, on prefetch, on route update, on service worker, should update scroll. Okay, so exports dot on initial client render equals a method, and this is a method that runs purely in, so we say import auth from dot slash source slash auth. Okay, so why is authenticated in brackets? The reason, it's basically string No, it's object decomposition. This is equal to saying const is authenticated equals auth.is authenticated. Hey Raphael, so this basically using object decomposition or object destructuring is a quicker way of writing out this stuff, and it makes your code less repetitive and easier to read and all of that good stuff. So we are just gonna try this on initial client render thing, and then I'm gonna probably have to go do to the gym. That's what I'm doing next. Okay, on client entry we say, let's see, how does it suggest we check local storage? Okay, if local storage.getItem is logged in equals to true, then we call auth.new session. Okay, cool. Now in Gatsby Navigate, I need to check how to make sure the URL changes. For cases when you can only use event handlers for navigation, you can use navigate. Note that navigate was previously named navigate 2, and navigate 2 is this. Okay, cool. So now let's see what happens. Gatsby develop. Let's see if it's going to. What is it complaining about? Layout is not defined and index page is not defined. Where is this? Thread compiler auth0 callback. Auth0 callback. Auth0 callback page. And where does the layout come from? Layout comes from components layout. Okay, so now let's try that again. Gatsby develop. Okay, so Gatsby browser needs to say const auth equals require dot slash source auth, and now Gatsby develop. Cool. So if I now go here, it's a localhost 8000. We have a logout button. Haha, very nice. So it's actually working. I'm going to clear all of my stuff. No, it's not actually working. Why does it say I am still logged in? Let's try incognito, because I'm not actually sure where it's storing. So it's always saying log out instead of saying log in. So login.js, if is authenticated. So let's see console log auth, and we will see what that is. Access token undefined, ID token undefined, is authenticated is a function. Alright. If is authenticated auth, so do I have to actually execute that? Aha, okay. So now when I click login, it goes to auth0. I click login with Google, comes back to my page, not yet. Goes through Google and then comes back to my page, and when it tries to redirect, it dies. Awesome. Navigate is not a function in Gatsby link. That's weird. Hmm. Window navigate is not a function, Gatsby. I'm using the old. Okay. So it looks like my only missing part is that here, navigate with prefix to options, window underscore navigate, window under navigate. Okay, so I'm not sure why that doesn't exist, but we got pretty close. Where is it? Auth.js, import navigate from Gatsby, and when that calls navigate, it's not actually working. What happens if we instead say window location href equals slash? JavaScript redirect old school. I just want to see how do I redirect to JavaScript. This is going to be very old school. Window location replace window location href. Okay, so I'm going to hard code it just so that we can see it's working, and then I should use navigate, and then we'll see about asking people for help on Twitter after I come home from the gym. Cool. So localhost, okay. Let's try that again. Localhost 8000. Auth renew session is not a function. Renew session is definitely a function. Oh, but I have to instantiate it. So Gatsby browser, Gatsby browser, const auth equals new auth, like that. That renewed my session. Auth is not a constructor. Console log auth. So why is this not working? Module symbol oh, because it's default. Dot default. Aha. Okay. So now let's try it again. Login with Google, goes to Google, that talks back to auth0, auth0 then goes back to my page, which redirects to that, and it almost worked. It does say we are logged in, and so is logged in, remove local, is authenticated if this expires at is less than expires at. Okay, so I almost got this working. I will continue, probably not tonight, but we're gonna continue tomorrow. Today I have to go to the gym, so thanks everyone for watching. This is probably going to be my 200 words TIL today I learned on Twitter later, so you can see a little recap. And yeah, if you're hanging out, thanks. I will see you again tomorrow.